Stephen never hesitates to tell us how he feels. It's been interesting traveling with him. Premier, can you close us off with some thoughts on the panel on tonight and what we've heard?
Well, trying to bridge the divide. That's what I always try to do after all the great input tonight. And so I guess what I would say is that even with the Communist Party, who is here this evening, I would say that maybe they should join us in wanting to build pipelines and develop our resources, because you can't get this product to market by teleportation. You actually need to build the infrastructure in order to do it. And to this point, I haven't seen the communists stand up and say that we should be building things like a Northern Gateway 2.0 or the Energy East or the Keystone XL. And why does that matter? Because if you want to develop the revenues in order to be able to pay for the things we all care about, which is education, healthcare, infrastructure, you have to generate the wealth to be able to do it. We've been going down a path for the past 10 years where governments in Ottawa felt that they could just create money out of thin air. It's led to the inflation crisis. It has led to the decline in our standard of living. It's led to fleeing capital, and it's part of the reason why we had, at the beginning of this evening, somebody talking about the very serious danger that the federal government might become unviable. We have to get back to the idea that you have to create wealth before you can spend it. And one of the things that I'm so very proud of, and Stephen Buffalo is intimately acquainted with the Alberta Indigenous Opportunities Corporation, is we're now doing that in partnership with First Nations, taking an equity stake so that they can also develop the resources and be able to get the benefit from that. And that is, I think, a model and a vision about how to develop resources in a bit of a different way that we've been pioneering. So I guess the way I'd put this to you is to think about the lost opportunity of the last 10 years. If we had built those 3 pipelines I mentioned, we would be generating 2.5 million barrels of oil per day more than today, which would be generating about $55 billion worth of revenue, of which governments take about 40%. The feds get about half and we get about half. You can solve a lot of problems with that kind of wealth. That's the reason why I think the frustration has been around the province, because we cannot have the next 10 years be as damaging as the last 10 years were. And by being able, by being able to reset that relationship and maybe take over a few more powers, maybe be a little bit more like Quebec when it comes down the pathway of responsible government, maybe we'll end up having a federation that works as it was always intended to by the people who drafted our Constitution and amended it over the years. So thank you for participating in the robust discussion. We're very glad to have had your input tonight. And back over to you, Bruce.
Thank you. Okay. We're up to 2 minutes or so. Premier, can you close this one off, and then we've got to move on.
Well, I will. We've had the young communists join us for a couple of our Alberta Next town halls, and I just encourage them to look at Venezuela, that has probably the largest resource wealth on the planet, but they can't develop it because there's no innovation, no capital, and no interest in investing in that economy. That's what happens when you subvert those who have the capital and the know-how to be able to do it. You just don't end up developing the wealth.